This is Brothers in Combat with Serge Vicente and Darnell Giovanni. No need to fight. Just listen up and get it right. Brothers in Combat, baby. We rollin'! Yeah! All night long. Boom.
Boom, 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 boom. What is poppin', fight fans, and welcome to one of your favorite shows, maybe your favorite show
it's the favorite
of the
show.
week. The Brothers in Combat with your boy Darnell Giovanni, aka Mystic Black. Got the man in the building to my
Serge
left.
Vicente, you know what I'm saying? We holding it down. Fight podcast, you know, together we are Brothers in Combat. But Darnell, let them know we got something special for them today, man.
We
it
got
ain't a regular
something
day.
special
Special.
Today. We had to do it's a big week. It's a big fight weekend. We had some things happen last weekend, this weekend coming up, but we had to bring the man, Mr. Miami, I like to call him, Mr. 305. Fuck Pitbull. It's all about Nick Marcus, baby. Nick Marcus in his house.
What it do, boys? Glad to be back. Feels good. Don't worry, everybody. The cash is here. The casual fan.
We are now hermanos.
The cash of the three, at least.
Know? I got my two Hispanic brothers here. You know, hermanos in combat. Gotta love it. But we have
hermanos
half black.
Yeah, you know,
half black. Still, you know what I mean.
Look, bro, this is. Hey, you know what? This is the Café con Leche show right here.
There you go.
Dude, why did we call it Café con Leche?
Hey, you know what? We might be able to. Let's calm down on that one, guys. That could be something. Keep that on the low. Keep it on the low.
We do this shit together. I'm gonna come up with some graphics. We will call this shit Café con Leche. I swear to God.
Café con Leche. Awesome. I love that.
Awesome.
Might have a new show coming at you guys very, very soon. We don't stop. We can't stop. But anyways, fellas, how we doing, man? It's been a while since all three of us have been together.
Dude, over here, man, holding it down on the west side. We out here in LA. It's a beautiful day as always. Literally, like always. But everything's going great, man. I'm just so fucking excited. Dude, it's fucking the pay-per-view weekend. It's fight weekend. We got the baddest man on the planet facing the scariest Negro on the planet. Holy shit. Let's do this shit.
Nick, how's it going down there? Spring break? Did you get crazy? How was the beach? How was Ocean Drive?
Hell no, man. You won't find me down there. Nobody from Miami goes to Miami Beach or South Beach. And you know what? For everybody that's out there, you know what I hate? When any Miami sports team is playing, they're like, oh, down to South Beach. Look, none of us play in South Beach, right? There's no arenas in South Beach. The only thing that's in South Beach is just misery. I feel terrible for the people that work there. I really do, especially with the crowds that we get for spring break. It's ridiculous, man. But other than that, I'm good, man. I'm just here, you know.
Really, like they said, they gave y'all an 8 p.m. curfew. Were people really at the crib at 8 p.m.? Because last time I checked, man, I was seeing thoughts out there shaking booties and shit all fucking night long.
Dude, they don't give a shit. They don't live here. It did work. I mean, it wasn't.
They don't
like,
live here.
I mean, we were on Miami time, you know. So like maybe the 8 p.m. curfew really started at 9, but. That being said, yeah, all these people out there, bro, they don't give a shit. They're not from here. They're gonna get back on their plane at the end of the day and go back home. They don't care what kind of mess they leave behind or what kind of, you know, just atrocities they commit. Like, I mean, what can I say, man?
Oh, dude, being out here in LA, because you remember earlier during the pandemic, everybody was like, why does LA have the worst, you know, all the shit and everything? Well, because everybody come here to kick it because it was nice and the rest of the country was under ice. So,
yep.
All of us got masks on, but it is what it is. But we ain't here to talk about no fucking masks.
We are not here to talk about any kind of mask. But speaking of masks, somebody needed a mask this past Saturday as Kevin Holland took on Derek Brunson. And my Lord, this man still did not talk, still would not stop talking. Even if Derek Brunson had his hand over his mouth, he just kept going, and it did not work to his advantage at all. Derek Brunson went in there and he did exactly what he needed to do, 100%. A lot of people can call the fight boring. A lot of people can say, oh, he wasn't trying to finish him. Listen, Derek Brunson did what he had to do to get that victory. And what more can I say? I know, Serge, you got a million things to say about this, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Look, man. I hate to be the one to say I told you so. But I told you so. This dude came out here, and we could all, like I said, this is open forum, obviously, and I'm going to toss them to you guys, but I could not be more disappointed in Kevin Holland. What a blown opportunity. What a blown opportunity to go out there, and I'm going to be harder on him than some, you hear DC and Hawani talking, giving this brother softballs, right? Oh, it's okay. No, you embarrassed yourself. Straight embarrassed yourself to go out there and you know what? Yes, he was outmatched. And if anybody's really paying attention, dude, this man has a 49% takedown defense. I'm going to say that again. Come, both y'all come here. I need to see y'all faces when I say that shit. 49% takedown fucking defense. I don't want to hear anybody saying shit about him being a championship contender. He's not. He's not. He is a fun fighter. He is this generation's Cowboy Cerrone at best. At best. He's young. I understand that. He can grow. I totally understand that. But here's the thing. Think about the two weight classes that he competes in. He's not big enough for the guys at 85 at the very top. He's just not. And he doesn't have any grappling pedigree to actually do anything with them. And then let's talk about 170 if he does move down to 170. They're wrestle heavy. They're just going to wrestle fuck him. They don't even care. They're just going to take his ass down. They don't care about making it boring, and they'll beat him. He is a journeyman at best. At best, he's going to end up being Derek Brunson at best.
End up being Derek Brunson?
End up being Derek Brunson. Who is essentially a litmus test guy, right? If you can get past this guy, you can be you are a legitimate contender if you can get past him. That is the type of guy that he is going to be. Now, I'm saying all that stuff, and I do not want to forget about and discount Derek Brunson. This man put on his fucking hard hat. He put on his hard hat. He grabbed his lunch pail. That was a workmanlike performance. Beautiful. He was in danger a couple times, but realistically, that was just a one-sided ass whooping. That was a domination.
Nick, so Derek Brunson is now ranked the number 4 middleweight in the UFC. You think he deserves this? He moved up 3 spots by being somebody who's ranked lower than him.
Well, actually, what I was more surprised with is not so much how he climbed, but that Kevin Holland stayed the same. Kevin Holland, if I'm not mistaken, went into this fight ranked number 10. And when you go to UFC rankings, which I'm at right now, he's still number 10. And I'm surprised to see that. He passed Hermanson, he passed Vettori, he passed Till, Brunson I'm talking about. I think it was kind of a steep jump for him. I mean, those guys, obviously, they haven't been at their greatest either. But I think it's the fact, like, let's say if Brunson was fighting one of those guys and he beat them, right? I'd say, yeah, go ahead and bump him up to 4. But he's beating Kevin Holland, a guy that's kind of like, we're still just getting used to seeing him, and we were all excited about him. But I would say that perhaps after this weekend, the excitement has kind of diluted. He's still going to be entertaining because he talks and everything like that. But his performance was hurtful, but not as much as his attitude. I feel like, it's really watered down the attention that's going to go towards him, because, I mean, I've never seen anybody happier than that after a loss.
First and foremost, of course, I want to give all the credit in the world to Derek Brunson for putting on that performance. People can call it boring. I don't care. If you go in there with somebody,
all the props.
If somebody goes in there and you can't out wrestle them, that's not Derek Brunson's fault. That's the other guy's fault for not understanding that when you go in there, you have to work on your wrestling. Derek Brunson is he's an excellent wrestler. He knows what he does on the ground. That's his specialty, So
two-time D2 national champion.
Big kudos to Derek Brunson. But at the same time, Kevin Holland, I was watching an interview with him and watching him speak, and you can kind of see the difference in just like the guy who was talking so much. I know he put out something, I'm never going to stop talking, but he was doing an interview and he kind of had this like, man, I gotta do it for the people that are around me and the people that believe in me, the Travis Luters, the people he has down there in Fortis MMA. Like, there's a lot of people.
I got beef with his camp too.
Kevin Holland. And now he said he's going to go over to AKA and get some help over there to try to get better at this wrestling, and that's good on him to want to do that and not just give up and to say, it's just a loss. I'm going to come back, blah, 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 yada, yada. He even said he was going to take some time rather than take a fight immediately, which never comes out of Kevin Holland's mouth. You know him. Oh, somebody drops out next week, I'm coming back. No, he said he's going to take his time, get better, work with DC. DC offered help to him, which is big kudos to DC because he does not have to do that at all. He's going to help him out. Kevin Holland, I want to see him come back. I want to see him come back strong, but I do not want to see him come back to the middleweight division. I think he's a welterweight. I think he's too small for middleweight. You can see that by how easy Derek Brunson took him down. You can see that by him weighing in at 183 pounds, which was nothing. He walks around at 195. He should be fighting at 170. He knows it. He kept making these small hints about it. And I think he would it be a easier weight class? Absolutely not. It's not going to be easier. I think the welterweight division has a lot of monsters there. But at the same time, he'll have a little bit more size. He'll be working at some different things. And I think it'd be very interesting to see him against some of these guys at welterweight rather than the guys at middleweight who are just too big, too strong. And I don't think he doesn't fare well against these middleweight contenders.
You know what? Let me ask you guys this, because this is something. Do you guys have an issue at all with Kevin Holland's corner? And Darnell, I'm going to lead with you on this one, okay? Because, and Nick, I really want to get your opinion on this as well. Because when you're actually looking at it, he was in between corner. He's laughing. He's fucking talking to Khabib. He is showing that he's literally not taking any direction. They're just laughing with him. They're hanging out. And in my personal opinion, that means that as a corner, there has to come a point in time where you tell him, hey, shut up. You're losing. You're down. We have to do something. Is it just me, or do you guys believe that his corner is also to blame for this loss?
Of course, I think so, because they got to kind of slap him into more of a serious mode. Stop talking to Khabib. You need to concentrate on the person in front of you. But at the same time, Kevin Holland has done this in every single one of his fights. That's how he is. So they're just used to it, and they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna let this happen and roll with it, huh?
But he wasn't losing.
He's had fights. He's had fights when he was losing, and he was doing the same thing. Like when he lost to what's his guy, Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen. When he was losing to him, he was doing the same thing. He was just talking out loud.
No, he wasn't though. And I'm sorry. I beg to differ. He was not talking as much in that fight. We go back. Not talking as much, but he was talking. Like he still was talking. But I know it's different now because now he was on that main event stage. I think what I think that was. I think that was nerve. That was so much nerve that he had in him. And his corner didn't know what to do. They honestly did not know what to do. But I do agree, his corner has got to get that into some kind of like focus mode. Why is he turned around looking the other way rather than looking at your opponent that's in front of you? They got to get that together. Like, I know the talking thing is funny and it's great. I enjoy it. But at some point, you got to get serious if you really want to be a contender in whatever division that you fight. Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
I think absolutely. Like they have to take some sort of responsibility, because I mean, just like when you see a kid misbehaving, you can't really be mad at the kid. You got to be mad at the parents, right? And essentially, this is sort of like the same relationship that coaches have with their fighters. You're not there to be his friend. You're there to be his coach. Like Trevor Whitman wouldn't put up with that shit by any means. So I think it's enabling essentially, this. Yeah, exactly. They're enabling him to be a buffoon, right? And in a situation like this, that he was getting dominated throughout the entire fight, with the exception of, that one lucky shot that he had. I don't want to say lucky, but that one opportunity he had in the second round that he got Brunson a little bit woozy there. I mean, he was just dominated completely. So for the coaches not to have him sort of, like focus, like, hey, snap out of it, stop dicking around. You're going to lose this fight, and everything that you're working for is going to be diluted if you don't get this win, or if you don't at least show that you care, So I think that the coaches needed to definitely be more stern with him. I think, like I said, you can't be buddy. Yeah, of course you can have an amicable relationship with your fighters, and the same with your coach. But there's got to be a level of authority there where the fighter has to respect their coaches. Essentially, the coaches are the ones that are going to lead them to their victories if they're good coaches. But so long as they're trying to just be his friend and let him, act the fool and everything like that, he's not going to get any further.
Sergio, let me ask you this question: who's next for Derek Brunson? Now he's top five. He's top five now. So is Elvino next? Who does
what? Next? And he called it. He called out Elvino, and I'm like, you know what? I think him and Elvino will be a really good fight, man. When you look at where they are, you think about the grappling pedigree and also where they both are. And we're talking about Derek Brunson being ranked number 4. It sounds crazy, But at the end of the day, when you really start thinking about it, think about it. His last loss was to Adesanya. No shame in that. Everybody loses to Adesanya, right?
Unless
He
you're
went
young,
out there, he beat. I had Adesanya winning, so whatever. Jan not fucking Jan. Look, you got my ass talking about Jan fucking balls. You have him go out there. He beat Edmund Shabazian, that everyone thought was the next best thing smoking. Then he goes out there and beats Kevin Holland, that you good and goddamn well know if Kevin Holland won, they would have fast tracked his ass to a title. So those are
probably would have ranked him number 4. They probably would have ranked him number 4.
And think about it. Right before that, Edmund Shabazian also would have been ranked right there in the top 5 if Edmund Shabazian won. He turned both of them away in dominant performances. And I'm sorry, and I'm blanking right now because he's on a 3-fight winning streak. What was the fight before Edmund, too? Because he had a good performance before Edmund as well.
Derek Brunson before Edmund Shabazian?
Yeah, what was the fight that he had before that? 'Cause he was on a 3-fight winning streak.
Yeah, he was on a winning streak. I forgot who he beat before that, but it was really good.
I can't remember. But
I'm on it.
3 top performances that are incredible. He goes out there and also think about this. He has, the 3rd most wins in middleweight history. He has, I believe, is 13 now. He has some of the, I think the 2nd most finishes in the weight class's history.
A lot of records.
This dude is the last remaining. Think about this. He is the last remaining guy from Strikeforce 10 years ago, from that Strikeforce deal, that is still here, and he is still a contender. This dude, honestly, at the end of the day, I am not mad at that number 4 spot. And not only am I not mad at that number 4 spot, El Vino, bring that big ass. That is the fight that absolutely should be next. If not that, the winner of the Vittori Tail fight.
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup to see. And Derek Brunson has a lot of options now with this victory, and we hope to see him sooner rather than later, especially with all these fights being lined up. But speaking of fights being lined up this weekend, we got UFC 260. We've been waiting for this one for a while. We've been waiting for this rematch to eventually happen for a while. Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time, taking on
period, point blank,
one of the most powerful guys in the heavyweight division, Francis Ngannou. My Lord, I am pumped and excited for this rematch. It's a long time coming, but we will start with the main event. Nick, let me ask you this. Does Stipe have more to prove than Francis Ngannou?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has more. He has something to prove, but he doesn't have something to prove more than Ngannou. Ngannou, he's the champion. He doesn't have to. And not only is he the champion, but he's the defending champion. What is it? 2 times with Cormier. And before that, he defended it, I believe, 3 times.
3 times,
right?
So 5 times altogether, I believe.
So 5 times altogether, yeah. Actually, no, So 5 times altogether that he's defended his belt and that he's even taken it back. So he doesn't have to prove anything. And Ngannou's the one that has to show here that, look, I'm gonna be the new king of this realm. I'm gonna end this guy's career, because that's another question too that everybody always throws with Stipe. Unfortunately, is this gonna be his last fight, win or lose? Is he gonna retire and all this stuff? And he's getting exactly Father Time, like it doesn't seem to be slowing him down, but at the end of the day, Father Time is undefeated. So if he can go out into the sunset with the belt over his shoulder, I can see him doing that. But obviously that's not the picture that Ngannou is going to want to portray here. He's going to want to basically be the one with the belt on his shoulder and carrying this division out for the next couple of years.
Serge, is Francis Ngannou a better fighter than he was when he first fought him? Or have we not seen enough of him in the cage because all these fights are just ending in under 40 seconds?
Since he's last fought, I've only since he lost to Stipe, this dude has only fought like 5 minutes. I have no idea. I truly don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really look at it, let's be honest. Technically, look at his knockouts that he has, right? And I went back and I was looking at the first fight between him and Stipe. Okay, Francis Ngannou is at his very best when he's throwing wild looping shots. Look what he did to Jarzinho Rosenstrike. Rosenstrike is a world-class kickboxer.
Beautiful pronunciation there, by the way. Beautiful pronunciation. I just had to say that. That was beautiful.
I appreciate you, man.
I can't do it. I can't do it. You and Nick got it down pat, but go ahead.
We Latino, brother. That's that tongue, ladies. But I'll say this: you go back and look at those fights, and you think everything what he did. He caught him with looping wild shots that a lot of people wouldn't. That wouldn't work for most of us. Okay, if you go back and look at his first fight with Stipe Miocic, he was having success early on when he was throwing those shots. But when he tried to get a little bit more technical and sit down, Stipe was tuning his ass up, straight rights. And it was at one point in time, I think it might have been the 5th round, towards it looked like he was about to finish him, especially with some big right hands, because he caught him clean, just ripped him with a couple big right hands. And my thing is this, of course, he's been training, it's 3 years. I assume that he's gotten better. I'm assuming that his cardio's gotten better. I'm assuming that his skill set has rounded out. But here's the crazy thing about it. At the end of the day, we don't know. But here's the biggest cool thing about this shit. It might not fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? It might not matter if he got better or not. Seriously. Because at the end of the day, if he hits you with one of them big-ass African lunchboxes, you're fucked.
African lunchboxes. That's great. It's
Cameroonian lunchbox.
It's definitely very scary with all that power just coming at you. But what I feel is going to be very important here, and is going to be pretty difficult maybe for Stipe. And in this sense, we have to look at more of the difficulties for Stipe, because he's been a guy who hasn't been beaten since Daniel Cormier, and that was one time. And then before that, it's been a long time. Francis has lost to Derek Lewis before. And then after that, he's beaten everybody else. But now they're going to be in a smaller cage. Covering that ground is going to be very easy for Francis to go straight forward and just like kind of block off Stipe if he wants to move like he did before. Remember in that first fight, Stipe was moving so beautifully, and he had a lot of that cage to move. Now you're going to be in that tiny cage with this monster throwing long shots at you and just all this power. I feel like that's going to matter a little bit, but at the same time, Stipe has shown it doesn't matter, because look, when he fought Daniel Cormier could have wrestled him the whole entire time. Daniel didn't try as much.
Cormier shit the bed.
But Daniel Cormier couldn't even cut him off on the cage. Stipe just kept moving so great. It's like Stipe is this new Superman with the glasses and the hair, and just like everything just looks so different about him. And as many times as I want to keep saying, oh man, this person can do this to Stipe, this person can do this to Stipe, he keeps proving every single person wrong. But let me ask you fellas this, and anybody answer whenever you want. If Stipe wins this fight, why is he not considered the GOAT? They never put him in that conversation. They never put him, not heavyweight GOAT, the GOAT. Why is he not considered the GOAT? He has more title defenses than Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's beaten very tough competition, but they never talk about Stipe as a GOAT. Anybody can answer this question.
It's because you can't understand him. You need subtitles to listen to his ass. That's why. Come on, let's be honest. If he was more marketable and you can understand his ass, this motherfucker sound like fucking Oscar the Grouch. Like at the end of the day, they're not selling that guy. You know what I mean? He is the type of dude that he is, and if you go back and we look at his resume, he's beaten Fabricio Verdun. He's beaten Daniel Cormier.
Twice.
He is beaten twice. He's beaten everyone that they have put in front of him, and he has done it. Junior Dos Santos. He has beaten he's beaten 3 UFC heavyweight champions. Think about that. He's beaten 3 of them. So when you go, and he's turned away Francis Ngannou. He's turned away. His resume, I think, speaks for itself. I generally believe it's because he's this dude from fucking Cleveland that sounds like he has marbles in his mouth when he talks. Like, I generally believe that's the reason they don't want to sell his ass. That's the only reason people don't talk about it. But if we look at his resume and his record pound for pound, skill for skill, and I'm throwing this to you guys. Am I tripping, or has he beaten more champions in their prime than John Jones has? Yeah. I think he has.
Yes, I was gonna say.
He has.
He has. If you look at that list, man, he wasn't being, this person was over the hill. Not one of those guys. John Jones fought a old Vitor
most of those guys over the hills.
A Rampage. A lot of these guys are over the hill, and somehow Stipe is still not brought up in that conversation. I understand with the non-marketability. I had to watch an interview with him 3 times yesterday because I could not understand what he was saying. And this is not even a brain damage kind of thing. Stipe has always spoken like this, and you just cannot understand what he is saying. So something has to be worked off there. Maybe they bring a translator into the ring to translate whatever he's saying, like Matt Mitrione did that one time. But something's got to give there in that department. But let me go to this. John Jones is waiting is waiting for to see what happens after these two guys fight. David White said John Jones is going to be the next up for one of these guys. Who would you rather see against John Jones, Stipe or Francis?
Nick, I'll give you this, bro.
I think I'd rather see Stipe, right? Because if we want to really solidify, I mean, for me, I don't think he needs any more solidification. And in regards to why he's not getting the attention that he deserves, it's probably because, he's kind of like, he doesn't really ask for attention, right? He's not flashy by any means. So maybe that's why he's not marketable. But this is a scary motherfucker. I mean, this guy does two things for a living, right? He beats people to a pulp and he walks into burning buildings, right? Or he say exactly. So I mean, this guy is scary as shit. But unfortunately, for marketing standpoint, right? He's not a guy that's loud. He's not a guy that's like, look at me, like Conor. He's not wearing all these loud clothes. He's not trying to bring attention to him. Like even somebody as humble as Khabib when after his Khabib after his final win, like that, I'm the pound for pound, I'm the greatest ever, and things like that. He's never really asking for that kind of attention. It must have been, down here in Miami we have a bunch of names like that. So, but anyways, as far as I'd like to see John Jones against Stipe. I mean, as cool as it would be seeing Ngannou take the rails from here, I wouldn't mind seeing Stipe beat John Jones, especially the way that John Jones has been acting lately. And if John Jones really wants to solidify his case that I'm the greatest ever, I'm going to move up a weight and I'm going to take out one of the greatest of all times, not just in his weight division, but in the entire sport. And then I'd like to see that because I don't think Stipe is scared of anybody.
Serge?
Stipe Miocic can beat up how many people on the earth right now?
7.8 billion people.
Yeah, Stipe can whoop all their ass. All of them. Every single last one of them. Stipe can. And who would I rather see? Look, visually, I would like to see him against the Cameroonian. Visually. I want to see this big dude. Because one thing that all of us will look at is that John has never faced anybody with power in that capacity. That's why we really want to see him fight Anthony Rumble Johnson. I want to see somebody who can put his ass out because John Jones gets hit. So I was always curious to see him against somebody who can really fucking crack. Daniel Cormier at heavyweight can really crack. You know what I'm saying? So we never saw that at light heavyweight. But Nick makes fucking valid points. It would probably mean more if the consensus greatest heavyweight of all time fights the arguable GOAT, right? Because then we have real clarification on who's the fucking greatest. If John Jones goes up there, fucks Stipe up, well, you got to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? But if Stipe knocks out John, well, then, hey, it's a horse of a different color. You know what I'm saying? I do have some concerns leading into this fight, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Darnell, what are your thoughts on this?
I think John Jones, you want to get big, you want to get strong, you want to put out all that weight, then you fight Francis Ngannou. That's what I want to see. I want to see that really bad because you want to fight a true heavyweight. I feel like Ngannou is a true heavyweight. That guy is going to come in at 255, 260, big. John Jones has fought these big strikers before in light heavyweight. He's gotten caught before, but man, you get caught by one of these bombs by Francis, I'm going to be more on my toes watching that fight than watching him versus Stipe. And that's my honest opinion. I know him and Stipe would be probably like a chess match kind of thing, but him versus Ngannou, I'm going to be like this the whole time because if Francis just throws something crazy, that excites me. So I want to see that. I think that'd be great. I'm not praying that Francis wins this fight. I'm not saying that, but I hope John Jones, honestly, at the end of the day, I hope he gets to fight both of these guys. And what was your concern? You said you had a concern.
So here's my only concern with Stipe. Mm-hmm. Okay, leading into it. Father Time's coming up. He's getting older. Yes, heavyweights can last longer. This is very, very true. I'm thoroughly understanding of that. Last time he got knocked out, think about this, is after a fight off of his Francis Ngannou fight. He took a lot of damage. He got hit. That chin got checked. He goes in there against Daniel Cormier. That chin got checked once again. He just went through 3 wars. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about this shit. He went through wars with DC. DC was getting that ass. And honestly, DC lost those fights. Stipe didn't really win, in my opinion, especially the second one. The first one, at the second one, absolutely. The third one, I think DC lost more than Stipe won. My personal opinion. But when you're looking at it, I'm curious. How have those fights really affected Stipe? I'm also seeing Stipe. He's much leaner than he used to be. Yes, he's gotten older. Is that a strategic thing, or is it just that he's getting older and this is what the fuck happens? You know what I mean? So those are just two things that I'm keeping my eye on, because anytime you go through wars and you fight somebody who's different, that chin is going to be a little different, especially at heavyweight. And we all know, especially with them big African lunchboxes, it don't take that much.
I think Stipe is actually smart about that damage stuff, because every time he fights, he takes like a year off. He's not coming back immediately after fighting these guys. He takes a good year off, and everybody gets mad. Oh, Stipe's not fighting enough. Are you fighting those fights he's fighting? He's getting cracked. He's getting cracked a couple of times, and you got to protect this right here. A lot of fighters don't do that. They like to fight 3-4 times.
What did Beast Mode say? You got to protect your cheddar. What did he call that shit? I
don't remember. What did he say?
Marshawn Lynch called it. He said, oh man,
get your bread.
Some shit.
Protect your cheddar.
But
he's talking about his brain.
We know what he's talking about. But he definitely protects his brain as much as he can, and he takes his time in between fights. So that's very smart on him. But guys, you know what I need now. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Gotta give it to me. Gotta give it to me. Gotta give it to me. Let's get some picks. Let's get some picks going.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
All right. So first of all, it's protect your chicken, is what Marshawn Lynch was saying. So protect your chicken. I think it's hard to pick, man, because Francis Ngannou, like you said, he's got those Cameroonian lunchboxes for hands. You can't really study much film of him in his last fights because they all last less than a minute, right?
Less than a round of all of his
less than a round, yeah, exactly. Right. So it's kind of hard to. I mean, timing is everything, right? If he lands at the right moment, it's easy to believe that Ngannou's going to win this. But Stipe is the GOAT for the reason. Stipe adjusts. Stipe has experience. Stipe can adjust in the middle of a fight. I think because of that experience, Stipe is the one that's going to continue to carry that legacy, still the champion. Whether he retires or not after this, we'll see. But I'm picking Stipe this weekend.
Stipe. Serge.
As crazy as that sounds.
Oh, man.
Because I look at Francis Ngannou, I'm like, that guy can knock anybody the fuck out. But like I said, Stipe has two occupations, is hitting people and walking into burning buildings. Francis Ngannou's getting basically pedicures and manicures before this fight. Not to say there's anything wrong with that.
We're talking about a dude who used to dig ditches for a living. All right, come on.
No. I'm not saying that I'm talking about just level of killer mentality, right? Like, I'm not saying that he's soft by any means, right? Nobody thinks that Francis Ngannou's win. But what I mean is that I feel like he could be too relaxed, I suppose. Whereas Stipe is like just more focused. It has nothing to do with his masculinity or his background or anything like that. It's just a matter of how they're approaching this week.
This is a tough one. This is really a tough one. I feel like I pick against fucking Stipe all the time. I swear. It is nothing personal. I think he's amazing. I really do. And especially after his last couple of performances, because I think so highly of Daniel Cormier. I'm going Francis. I'm going with Francis, and maybe I'm going with Francis because of it's my gut. My gut is telling me, and you guys know how I am. I really watch film and I go, through the shit with a fine-tooth comb, but this is just one of those fights that is just like, my gut is telling me that the damage that he sustained from the fights with DC carry more weight than I think a lot of us even understand. Also, age-wise, you can get old overnight. You know what I'm saying? Especially in MMA. It's one of those things that overnight you fuck around, get fucking, you get old. So, if Stipe comes out and wins this fight, I would not be surprised. I'll just say that. I would not be surprised. I'm picking the Cameroonian and knock his ass out in the first.
Ooh, knock out in the first round. Just like you said, Serge, I have went against Stipe Miocic so many times, too many times. And in this case, for the first time ever, I am going to ride with Stipe Miocic. I just think that this is his time. There's just it's unfortunate that Francis is fighting while Stipe is the champion, because he just, as great as I think Francis is, you can't learn that much in that fast. And I feel like as soon as he sees Stipe again, they look at each other eye to eye, it's going to come back to him. That 5-round fight to where he got exhausted, and he knows Stipe can last a good amount of time in that cage. If it goes past the first round, for sure it's going to be another domination by Stipe. And I feel like he's going to use that wrestling to his advantage and kind of have him on the ground as well. I'm riding with Stipe Miocic. I think he will win this fight by unanimous decision, 49-46 on all those scorecards.
I'll be honest with you, I think this fight gets to a finish one way or another.
Gets to a finish?
It's a finish.
I think it gets to a finish. I think it gets to a finish, and I think it's true what you're saying. It's a very fair point. What you're saying is that it's not that Francis Ngannou isn't good. It's just that it's unfortunate that that Stipe is still around during this time of Francis's career, because Francis, with the exception of Derek Lewis, he could be he's beaten all these guys, right? But Stipe is still around, man, and there's reason for that. He's just got it, and that's essentially too with me, Serge. It was a gut feeling for me. It's not so much like there's strategic look at the film and everything like that. It's true. It's just like anytime that's probably why nobody considers him to be the GOAT, and why because he's always constantly underestimated, right? Everybody's always picking him to lose the next fight. So that's, I mean, John Jones didn't have that. Khabib didn't have that, right? But then again, he doesn't,
because he don't got no damn tattoos. Exactly. He's a nice guy. I'm for real. Like, it's like people don't want to buy into that for some strange reason. And that's what I'm saying. My pick isn't predicated on him, because like Stipe Miocic is head and shoulders better than Francis Ngannou. It's not close. Stipe is here skill-wise. Stipe is here. Francis is here. I'm not even making a claim. It's the threat of the power and the unpredictability of him. I think about the fight with Rosenstrike. I think about, the fight with Cain Velasquez. He only needs this much space. And one thing is beating a former champion and beating up-and-coming prospects who are world champion kickboxers. His confidence is continuing to rise and rise and rise. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of those fights that if I'm wrong, I'm not even going to be mad about it. It's just going to be like, I could see Stipe. Stipe has a very clear path of victory. And I think if Stipe wins this fight, I think he finishes his ass. Because I think if he does get past the third round specifically, if he gets past the third round, he's going to start putting it on his ass.
Tactically for sure, because Francis still got that power in the later rounds as well, so he's got to be careful. But this reminds me of BJ Penn when he was running the lightweight division, and Kenny Florian was killing everybody not named BJ Penn. And you just wanted Kenny to be that champion, and he couldn't because BJ Penn was on top, and nobody can stop him. So it's like almost the same situation. It just sucks at that time who was at the top.
And we always have this, right? Don't we always have this when we have dominant champions? It's just like there's so many guys just right up under them. It's just like, damn, bro. But not anybody else. You know what I'm saying? You would have been the champ. Fucking Kobe Covington. If it wasn't for Kamaru fucking Usman, unfortunately, this MAGA motherfucker probably would be the champ.
You probably running welterweight right now. He needs to get in that. He needs to get in that cage. I need to see him get in that cage. He is. He's another fight. Not even talk about this fucking prima donna. Let's carry on, guys. Speaking of former champs,
speaking of prima donnas,
Tyron Woodley returns to the cage. Former welterweight champion, defending welterweight champion. Tyron Woodley comes back against Vicente Luque in the co-main event now, since we lost Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega, unfortunately, and we send well wishes to Alexander Volkanovski. He unfortunately got COVID. But hopefully we get to see that fight in the next month or something like that.
His mama was pissed.
Which it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But Tyron Woodley, 3-fight losing streak. If he loses this fight, is he gone from the UFC, or do you think the UFC will give him another chance?
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. That motherfucker gone, son. I'm telling you right now, they giving it. You see this pink that says "Pink Woodley returns versus Luque." They gonna give him a pink piece of paper just like that. Get your ass out of here.
Again, the pink slip.
They gonna get that motherfucking pink slip. Come on, man. Like honestly, I don't even think he deserves this fight. So this is his last ditch effort. You've lost 15 rounds in a row. 15 rounds. You've been completely dominated. And all this shit that people talk, he looks like he's in shape. He looks like Woodley always got 12-pack. He always looked like he in shape. He's in shape. The problem isn't his being in shape. The problem is between the ears. And the fact of the matter is that he has never been a guy that has a lot of activity. Never really been a guy like the last time I saw him had a lot of activity is when he was fighting for a championship in Strikeforce against Nate Marquardt, okay? And that's when Nate Marquardt knocked his ass out with the fucking Mortal Kombat combo, all right? Ever since he got knocked out with that Mortal Kombat combo, he is far more reserved in his striking and his energy efficiency. And I think here's the biggest problem, I think, with that happened to Tyron Woodley. The fact that Tyron Woodley, when he beat Damian Maia, people don't give Tyron Woodley credit in terms of his fight IQ. He's brilliant. Here's the problem. He only fights half the fight. It's all defense. All defense, no offense. Even against fucking Wonderboy Thompson. All defense, no offense. Fucking Damian Maia. He literally put the blueprint out to beat Damian Maia. All defense. He had like fucking... He pushed off 20 takedowns. Dude, like, literally shot him like 20 fucking times. And he shucked them all off. Beautiful game plan. Here's the problem. There was no offense. So the fight was shit. It was a bullshit fight. When's the last time I saw him, and I was really excited to see him, and it seemed like he finally turned the corner, is when he went out there and he defeated Darren Till. That's when you're like, oh shit, he finally put it all together. Here's Tyron Woodley. This is the one I've been telling y'all. He's coming. And then, whether it be Father Time, whether it be, him losing focus, whatever the case may be, something was gone after that point in time, and we have yet to see. Would the real Tyron Woodley please stand up? Because I ain't seen you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Real recognizes real. Your ass is looking real unfamiliar right about now.
Nick, is this a better matchup for Tyron Woodley compared to the wrestlers and the jiu-jitsu guys he's fought in the past? Is this a better matchup for him? Because Luque, if you look at Luque's fights, Luque is a guy who's going to stand and bang with you. So is this a better matchup for him in this standpoint?
Unfortunately, I think it's like what Serge says. The problem is in between the ears. So I don't think any matchup is really better for him until he, fixes whatever's mentally, blocking him from being who he was before. I don't think it's an age thing because we we all have seen Tyron Woodley with all his fights. He looks like Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. I mean, this guy's always fit as a fiddle. But I think any matchup is not going to be favorable or better for him, whether it's the style or the fighter or anything, because it's true. We just haven't seen the Woodley that we all fell in love with, right? And he's been dominated. It's not like, okay, you've lost your last 3 fights and they were all knockouts or TKOs or you got one bad decision or something like that. Like, you have literally been dominated all 15 rounds of your last 3 fights. And I think it has something to do with just his what's the word I'm looking for? His esteem. Like his self-esteem just seems to be gone lately. And so, I mean, he has to win this fight if he wants to continue his career with UFC.
I talked to Tyron Woodley a month ago. I've watched Tyron Woodley
Let him
interviews.
know. Where'd you hear him? Where can they find that interview?
You know where we can find it. MMA Island and Mystic Black, both pages all there. But I just, as much as I respect Tyron Woodley,
about the other one.
I as much as I respect Tyron Woodley, I just didn't see anything different. And when he spoke, he didn't seem like he had like this newfound motivation. I try to keep asking those questions and people asking those questions, and he didn't seem like he has a brand new kind of thing that he's thinking about as he's going into this fight. So it's hard for me to say, oh, Tyron Woodley's doing this, he's going to do this. The only thing that he said that might give me a little bit of more like motivation to see a change in him is that he was training with AJ McKee. He's been training with AJ McKee a little bit. And AJ McKee, that team over there is pretty solid. They're small, but him as a head coach, he's really, really good. Look what he's done with his son, AJ McKee, the second. Yeah, he's so good. Yep. Anthony, my bad. He's so good. Very, very good. I mean, what Anthony has done with AJ, excuse me.
Exactly.
He's really, really good. Is about to fight for a title. And maybe he gave Tyron some kind of different talk or some kind of different motivation. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be difficult to see here. But anything you guys want to say about Vicente Luque, he wins this fight, is that he's always had this problem of getting past that person. They'll give him that person, doesn't win. He went against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, had trouble there. Is this going to be another issue for Vicente Luque? Because I don't want to disrespect and not talk about him because he is in this fight.
This is an opportunity for Vicente Luque to show out. He's always had an issue of getting past the big one. You know what I mean? He wasn't really able to really get past the big fights. Like you said, Wonderboy Thompson, he's always been one of those guys that he's a B-level guy. You know what I mean? And that's, I'm not saying that, and that's not any disparaging way to him. It's just there's levels to this game. He's super tough. He's always going to be a tough out. He's almost, again, one of those litmus test guys, right? A la Derek Brunson and those guys. If you can get past him, you a bad motherfucker. He's one of those type of guys. Here's the problem with that. Truly, here's the problem with that. Well, a couple things. And this is, he wins this fight, we can put him in the conversation. He can be one of those guys that he can make his way to the top 10, top 5 type of guys. You know what I'm saying? He can start working his way there and really have some super intriguing matchups. I love this fight for Vicente Luque. I think he's tailor-made at this present moment in time. Now, if we're talking prime for prime, I gotta go with fucking Woodley. But this isn't your granddaddy's Tyron Woodley. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't the same Tyron Woodley that we grown to know and love. 15 rounds lost in a row. I think now I will say this. Vicente Luque does get in there and try to brawl. He does. And he loves to really get in there and mix it up. The problem with that is, even though he does have a great chin, he can defensively, he's not as defensively mindful at times once he gets to just trying to throw punches and bunches. But what that also does is put a lot of pressure on Tyron Woodley, who just consistently backs up. Vicente, if you allow Vicente Luque to come downhill on you, which I thoroughly believe is going to happen on this fight, man, you're in for a really long night or a real quick ass whooping, one of the two.
Well, guys, you know what I need? You know what time it is? I need some predictions and short and sweet. Give me something short and sweet.
Luque beats his ass. Done. Bye.
I think Vicente is going to come out winning, and he's going to be victorious in this one.
Vicente, brother, what was it? You Spanish? Vicente.
Wait, bro, you got it. No, bro, no. Okay, in Spanish it's Vicente, but in Brazilian Portuguese,
But he's Argentinian. He ain't. He's
Brazilian.
Is he Brazilian?
Oh no, he's Brazilian. He's Brazilian.
He's Brazilian.
Oh, brother, I stand corrected. You know what? I was confusing him with Ponzinibbio.
I thought he was Argentinian for a second too. I was like, he's no.
I mean, close, next to each other, but Vicente Luque is how they would say it.
It is Vicente. Vicente, I appreciate you, my brother.
As the Michael Johnson of picks, of course, I gotta drop one on you guys. Hey, Vicente Luque trains with Gilbert Burns, man. He trains with people he's trained with Kamaru Usman. He trained with two guys who absolutely dominated Tyron Woodley, and I don't think it's going to make a difference here. I'm picking Luque. I think he beats him in a 3-round decision, and Tyron Woodley takes his talents to probably Bellator or something and maybe picks up a title elsewhere. I don't know. Maybe the South Beach, maybe finishing his career in music. I don't know, but I'm picking Luque.
He's taking his talents to TMZ is where he's taking his talents to.
Or TMZ. Hey, listen, wherever the money's at, do what you got to do.
Bro, I'm not gonna hate him if he's got a fallback plan. Hell no.
No, more power to him.
I want to have a fallback plan. Absolutely.
You guys, we got the return of Suga Sean O'Malley. The Suga Show is back against a very tough competitor in Thomas Almeida. Is Sean O'Malley putting a lot of pressure on himself? Because in every interview since he lost, he's saying that he's still undefeated. Is that a good mindset to go into for this fight, or is he setting himself up for a lot of failure?
Darnell, let me hear your take on this. What do you think?
I think that he took a loss and he kept talking about, not that many people has had that issue in the cage. You got calf kicked. Your leg went numb. You lost. You were on the ground. Hold on. Let's rewind. I wish I could show a video clip right now. You're on the ground.
Get him.
You still use a lot of other things to get yourself back up, and you got knocked out. Sean O'Malley got knocked out. So yes, you were defeated, and this is a very dangerous mindset to have going into this fight. At the same time, Thomas Almeida has not been the beast that he once was ever since he lost to Cody Garbrandt. So I feel like they're kind of trying to set him up here. But at the same time, Thomas Almeida is still very, very dangerous. Serge, what do you got to say about this one?
I think you made a great point, man. And that's why I was with the get-ems and shit. Because at the end of the day, you hit that shit fucking on the nose. A fighter needs to acknowledge the fact when they've taken a defeat, because if you don't sit there and acknowledge the fact that you actually lost the fight, you're not going to improve. You're not going to get better because you're not going to try to fix those issues. The fact that he's still going out there and saying that, oh, I didn't really take a loss. Go back and watch that fight. He knocked you out, actually. He hurt you, got hurt in the leg, and then he hit you in the face and you fell asleep. Dog, you lost. It is what it is. But in terms of this matchup here, you hit it on the head. Thomas Almeida hasn't been Thomas Almeida in a very long time. He was a killer. He was one of those up-and-coming prospects. He got dealt with. And I do believe that this is a fight that is tailor-made to make Sugar Sean look good. A guy who is extremely talented. I'm talking about Almeida. You have a guy who's extremely talented, a guy who can actually hurt you, can make it a fight. But he has so many big holes in his game. He's tailor-made for somebody who is a sharpshooter. Because let's be honest, we've been throwing shade at him. This kid is fucking talented, incredibly talented. He has such a great skill set. He trains with an amazing fucking team. He hangs out with some doofies and says some stupid fucking comments on his damn podcast. But who doesn't? And then I've said some wild shit.
Included us.
Some wild shit. You know what I'm saying? But this fight is totally set up to make him look amazing, and I expect to see a really good performance. Now, you shit the bed, well, all bets are off. I'll see you in Bellator next week.
Oof. Dick, does this bring real quick? Does this bring Sean O'Malley back into the top 15 of that division, and maybe a rematch with Chito Vera, since Chito Vera is coming off a loss as well?
I think I think they're definitely setting him up for a victory here. Thomas Almeida has not been great lately, so that we all know what's going on here. If he wins, I can see him getting his rematch with Cheeto back. That way, he can really settle the score in the sense of that. Oh, I didn't really lose. I just won. You fucking lost. But then again, this is Sideshow Bob talking here. But yeah, like it's. I think that I don't know about his rankings and everything. This guy is extremely talented. I'd like to see him get back. Just as from a pure fighting standpoint, get back and continue to dominate like he was doing. It's been very entertaining, but I mean, I just don't like that mindset of like, oh, I'm really undefeated and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, the Heat won the finals last year. I'm still writing on that. Like, come on, dude, wake the fuck up.
Real quick, guys.
When's the last time Thomas Almeida was in there?
Thomas Almeida last year, but he lost. He lost last year.
Yeah, he was in there in October, and then before that, he hadn't been in there since he lost to Rob Font in 2018.
He had a bad couple injuries that he could not get past, and
Jimmy Rivera he lost to in 2017.
He has not been active, so that's going to work against him. I feel. But guys,
real quick,
picks.
Sean, Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, Sugar Sean, first, second round TKO.
I'm putting Sugar on my cornflakes, and I think that's what's going to happen this Saturday. He's coming back in there, and we'll see him in the top 15 again. But guys, let's go straight to this. Finally, Khabib Nurmagomedov has retired, even though he's been retired for 5 months, if we're being super realistic about it, Dana White. And they announced a title fight directly after that, and we get Charles Oliveira, kudos to you, Serge, because you've been saying this for a long time, against my guy over here, Michael Chandler, in the main event, UFC 261, right?
261.
Yeah,
261. Real quick, guys, was this the correct fight to make? For
a title fight,
they got one half of it right. They got
one. Yeah, for a title fight,
Charles Oliveira deserved it. I think that unfortunately Michael Chandler, he needed one more win, but I'm not mad at I'm not mad at it. We're talking about the second greatest fighter in Bellator history. We're talking about a guy who his resume speaks for itself. So at the end of the day, am I upset about it? No. And also, I think it's an amazing matchup. Realistically, though.
Wait, who's the first best fighter in Bellator history? I'm just asking.
Patricky Pitbull.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But Pitbull, I mean, shit. They fought, and Pitbull knocked his ass out in the first round.
First round.
You know what I'm saying? and he moved up a weight class to do so. Think about that shit.
Yep.
Pitbull's
Got
bad
knocked out by a featherweight. But go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So that no worries at all. But so that's when I look at those things, and you got to kind of break it down in that capacity. This is a great fight, though. I'm excited about the fight. But you know, it's funny. Maybe actually, when you really think about it, maybe it should have been Dustin Poirier. That's who it should have been. It should have been Olivera versus Dustin Poirier. I understand what Dustin's doing. Red panty night, get that money, do your thing. I ain't mad at you. Like I totally get, and it's easy money, easy fucking money. He's about to go over there, whoop his ass again, go home, get paid. I love it, right? So he has easy money on that side. I understand getting easy money. And when I'm talking about easy money, I'm talking about Conor McGregor. Easy fucking money, easiest money in the weight class at this point in time. So especially in the top 10. So you got this easy money, take that shit, and then the real championship fight should have, but fuck it, Michael Chandler. It makes sense. Fuck it, I get it. Yeah.
But all that happens. What are we doing with Justin Gaethje? Justin Gaethje's ranked the number two guy in the division. We'll just skip past him and just go number 4.
He's coming off a loss.
But to the champ, to
doesn't
Khabib.
matter. You still lost. You should not get rewarded for a loss with a fucking title fight.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who's fought off a loss. Of Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal is coming off a loss, and
Jorge Masvidal shouldn't get the shot either. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, I mean, if it happens, it happens. And also, let's be honest, Jorge Masvidal is the second biggest attraction in the UFC right now.
Yeah. Man, money, UFC, business.
You know what I'm saying?
But Nick, you were talking about Justin Gaethje for a while and how he deserved a title shot. Why do you think he should be in there rather than Michael Chandler?
Well, I think it's just because I was completely surprised by this matchup, right? Especially for the fact that it was for the title. I wasn't surprised with Charles Oliveira coming in there, but Michael Chandler, I really thought that he's gonna have to get, or so I assumed, and I assumed incorrectly, that he's gonna have to get one more fight, one more clear victory before he can even try for the title. But I'm not mad with this. As much as I would have liked to see Justin in a title fight, I'm not mad with this matchup either, because Chandler came in. I love the confidence that Chandler has come in to UFC with, right? Basically, shitting on everybody that basically shat on him about, oh, you were at Bellator, that's a different whole league and everything like that. You're not at the level we are. And here he was. What he did to Dan Hooker was incredible. I had picked him to win that fight, but I was not expecting it to be that way. So I would have liked to see Justin Gaethje, but I'd be lying if I said that Chandler doesn't get me excited. And Charles Oliveira has been a black horse for a long time. Nobody's really looking toward his direction or anything like that. And I think that it's good that he's getting recognition for his results, and not only that, but just his talent.
It's Conor McGregor's fault that he's not getting a shot. Just to be honest.
For sure, because that was going to be. I knew as soon as Conor lost that fight, I knew Dustin Poirier is not fighting for a title anymore. Yeah, it's gone. That he's going to take that fight. It's a big money fight. I don't blame him. But it should
be Oliveira versus Dustin and Justin versus Chandler. That's what it should be.
For everybody that is complaining about Michael Chandler getting this title shot, listen, there was a guy named Anderson Silva who came into the UFC and won one fight and got a title shot right after. You want to compare Michael Chandler, who he beat before he got a title shot, and who Anderson Silva beat before he got a title shot? Chandler looks better. So stop the complaining. Michael Chandler is a very fun guy to watch. There's no boring Michael Chandler fight that you've ever seen. Mm-mm. Him against Charles Oliveira is going to be such an interesting fight in every aspect of the way, especially the role that Charles and confidence that Charles Oliveira has right now, because he's a different human being. You can see it in the way he fights. You see it in his body. You see it in the way he speaks. He is a different animal right now. So that's
I'm telling you, I love that Ric Flair mentality that he's got.
Listen,
I absolutely love
it. See you at the top. I love that. I'm loving this thing that he's doing. I'm loving it. It's fun. I like the personality he has with the UFC. But guys, got 1 minute left here. Anything you guys want to say about this weekend stuff coming up? Anything? Just throw it out there for the people.
Hey, enjoy the fights this weekend. It's going to be amazing. Nick, my brother, thank you for joining us today. Always a fucking good time. Watch the Mystic Hour. Watch the Fight Podcast. Love you guys.
Hey, Nick, go ahead.
Nothing. Just catch these two guys every week. I mean, it's been a pleasure. I always like this whole trilogy thing that we got going on here, and for you guys to have me on the actual Brothers in Combat special, perhaps the Café con Leche special when I come in. We'll just keep that under wraps. But yeah, man, it's always fun with you guys. I really appreciate you guys knowledge in this game, and always obviously enlightening me as well as the viewers and everything like that. So guys, always check out Brothers in Combat. Check out Darnell at Mystic Black MMA on MMA Island. Make sure you check out Serge on the Fight Podcast, and we'll see you.
We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place, right here. We'll be back. Boom!